This is Rick Haggerty, Kickin It For Peace, Culture, and Education, which airs each Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I have to remind myself on Valley Free Radio, and replays Thursday nights now at 11 p.m. We're so happy to have you with us, and I'd like to say welcome to our guests, Nellie Pryor and Greg Harkavey. Good morning, folks. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning. Doing well?
All right. We can hear you.
Good. Here we are.
And let's see, Greg, you're really close to that. That's mic 4, right? Okay, great. Okay, so we're so excited about departure number 11, and that's at Pulaski Park. And that's happening Saturday, September 29th, 6:30 p.m. And that's part of the bigger Northampton Print and Book Fair, correct? 12 to 6.
Yes. The following day at APE in downtown Northampton. So on Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. So you guys must be so excited about this.
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah, we've been working on this one since
July, I think.
July, but we've been thinking about it for so much sooner.
Closer?
Yeah.
We've been thinking about it for so much longer than that.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
It feels like this massive culmination of everything that we've been thinking about for months.
Yeah. And it's a collaboration between the Northampton Print and Book Fair. They've been doing the fair for 4 years now. Sort of a way of highlighting local artists and book artists and publishers. They have about 35 collectives and individuals tabling on that Sunday. So we're just pulling together reading in celebration of the written word and publications. So we've been meeting with them and working with them, and also working with a lot of friends on this one, because we're working with a lot of different elements and facilitating a lot of different things. Like, we have 4 readers, but we did a pre-recording of the reading, so we're formatting it more like a podcast. Then we got a couple, Greg's really good friend and my really good friend are the video team, and they've become friends since starting. They're creating video art to go along with the readings. So it's not a standard reading. You're going to show up to Pulaski Park, and it'll be sort of like a podcast with video. It's more like a film experience.
Yeah, I noticed that on the event page.
Yeah.
And folks can find out about this through the event page on Facebook.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And also through our page, just Departure Reading Series.
Departure Reading Series. Yeah. And the other page would be the Northampton Print and Book Fair.
Yep,
Correct.
That's the one.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So the collaboration has occurred over time, basically, and you've had a number of events, obviously, a number of readings.
Yeah, the collaboration is new, but we've been working. Greg and I have been working together for about a year.
Yeah, we met like April last year.
2 Aprils ago.
2 Aprils ago.
Yeah.
Yikes, 2 Aprils ago. Yeah, and we basically immediately just got really excited about doing exactly this.
Yeah.
And then we've been running with it ever since.
Fantastic. Well, that's it's so exciting. And now, did you want to talk about the anthology, Greg?
Yes,
Is this a
the
good time
anthology.
to? Yeah. Let's tell our listeners about that. Yeah.
Nellie has been working super hard on making sure that this reading happens, while I've been kind of in the on the sidelines, working out an anthology of our first year's readings. So I have about 3/4 of our readers submitted something to this gorgeous letterpressed book that we're going to be selling at the Print and Book Fair, that has work from most of the readers that we had last year.
It's incredible. I mean, it must be just a monumental undertaking to put this together.
It absolutely is, but it's so worth it.
Yeah. So how many readings do you have in that?
So there were 9 readings last year.
Yeah. Did you include the one from Hugo's, or is that?
No, that was second grant. So we're on our second year of grant funding, and we're doing it for the first year. So we had 9 readings, and we were able to get readers from 8 of them, or submissions from 8 of them.
Fantastic. Now, did you say you were doing this typeset? I mean, this is like non-electronic or?
Oh,
letterpress.
Typeset like on InDesign.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then the cover's getting
nice.
letterpressed.
Oh, nice. Good for you. Fantastic. So tell me about some of the readings that have happened in the past. What are they like, and what should people expect on the 29th?
Sure. Well, we do all sorts of different things. The whole point of Departure is that we wanted to try experimental methods, and some of them are just kind of straight up readings, where we have, and the location changes every month. So some of them are just kind of standard, 4 people read for 10, 15 minutes and we raise money for a local cause or a pressing cause. But some of them are a lot more like elaborate. Like once we had it in a house and we had staggered readings, and we put baby monitors in each of the rooms, and those were feeding into one room, so you could hear like this cacophony of poetry in one room and then wander through the house and find different readings. And that's sort of what we do when we have a little more energy.
Yeah, and the idea for it.
And the idea.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just do a nice straight up reading. But
yeah.
The whole idea is to just kind of experiment with the idea of a reading and what that is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I like trying to think about like, I think readings can be very stiff sometimes. Like there's like a set expectation for what the audience is and for what the like readers are, and like how the like the hosts, the moderators between those two spaces are supposed to behave. And there's like they can be like a not super welcoming space. And so we've been trying to like blur those lines by like asking the audience to like move around a house, or like to be like, we had like one that was like mostly audience participation, and like the audience wrote a poem. Like we basically tricked them into writing a poem that someone had to go read. And through that like kind of disarming moment, they suddenly become a much bigger part of what we're doing, which I think makes people feel more at home at our readings.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I'm a middle school special education teacher, and
cool.
With so many different literary genres, I love exposing my students to poetry and then asking them to write as well, based on some theme.
Yeah, and you get to break the rules too when you write poetry, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Yeah, it's kind of self-created, and it doesn't follow other literary rules. So now, how did you guys get involved in this? Can you talk a little bit about it? Like, how did it? Because you're kind of the creator of it.
We're the team.
Yeah, you're it, right?
Yeah, we're it.
We're it.
How did this come about? I mean,
Well, we met at a reading we did ourselves. And my friend, our friend Anya Klepacki, was talking to Greg. Anya's a great connector. I had been telling...
Oh, it's all Anya's fault.
It's all Anya's fault.
I had been telling her that I wanted to do a reading series, and I had done one the previous year, just a little bout of one with a couple of friends, and I wanted to do it again. And then I had been telling her that, and then Anya met Greg at the reading, and Greg was saying kind of a similar thing, that they were interested in doing a reading series. So Anya was like, "Hey, Greg, Nellie, talk." And then we just actually did it. And we weren't we weren't friends before that, but now we're friends, and we have a writing workshop together and stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's how we met, and then we just started doing it.
How long ago was that?
That was
June.
last April.
Well, we met in April. We did the first one in June 2017.
Yeah, the first one was
17, right? Yeah, June 2017.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking about the Departure number 11 reading series is happening Saturday, September 29th, 6:30 p.m. at Pulaski Park.
Yep.
Poetry reading. Yep.
Right around sunset is when it will start.
Sunset, because of the film aspect.
Yep.
And then the Northampton Print and Book Fair happening the following day, Sunday from 12 to 6.
At APE. That right? Yep. Yeah, not at Pulaski Park, but at APE, which is a gallery downtown.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. And I just want to remind folks that this is the first time that we've had you in the studio, and I hope you guys will come back and keep us aware of what's happening. And I want to say this is WXOJ 103.3 FM Northampton. We're streaming online at valleyfreeradio.org. And So we're here with Nellie Pryor and Greg Harkavey, talking about the events that are upcoming.
Yeah.
So let's go on to let's see. Well, now there's a bigger purpose here, and you guys are raising funds. And correct me if I'm wrong. I see there's information here about No Bayou Bridge Pipeline Solidarity Campaign.
Correct.
Is that's what you're raising money for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. This is the grassroots pipeline resistance movement.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah, and we're raising money specifically for its L'eau est la vie. It's a pipeline resistance camp. That's I believe in Louisiana. If you go to their website, you can find out a lot of information, find all sorts of references, and that's nobbp.org. It's a resistance camp that kind of comes from the Standing Rock sentiment, and I think individuals are involved in both, because the Bayou Bridge pipeline is basically an extension of the Dakota Access Pipeline, but it's been broken up into different sections in order to evade legal, like financial responsibility, and to let make regional residents feel as if this pipeline is for them and it will create jobs, when in fact that's absolute opposite of the truth. These oil companies are like hiring private security firms to come and arrest people that are peacefully protesting on private property that they've been granted access to be on. So I think it's called Tiger Swan, is this private company that comes and arrests them. And also a law has just passed where people who are peacefully protesting on land they're allowed to be on are being removed forcibly by a private company and then charged with felonies. So that's the law that is in process now, and I'm not sure where it's at. Again, I'm not the expert, but you can find out the information online. So we're raising money for the resistance camp. They need supplies. You can send them supplies directly, and they need money for supplies and also anticipation of legal aid.
That is so typical. I mean, it's just like Standing Rock, this whole, private security force thing, and then charging people for, peaceful protesting like it's a felony or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the wave. It's the unfortunate, unjust, really disgusting wave of treating people who are asking to have their voices heard, and then pushing them down, and locking them up and charging them money, and
it's state sanctioned illegal behavior.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah, it is.
And so many things have changed in this country most recently, with the most recent election. But, it goes, in a lot of ways, it goes back to 9/11. Since 9/11, it seems like civil rights have just been trampled on in the name of
oil.
Oil and other things, and, terrorists, and then labeling groups as terrorists and all that, and it's really unfortunate. So now that end, you said the email was resist@nobbp.org.
Yeah.
Right. That's where folks can get involved in that.
Yeah, and involvement at this point, I think they really need people, so they need people to go down there and be on the front lines for civil disobedience, for that to slow down this construction process. So email them if you actually want to go.
Oh, okay.
And maybe if you have questions too, but they really need individuals down there at the camp. They're accepting people if you email them with your name, your number, why you want to go. Also, your name, your phone number, why you're going, when you can go, how long you can go, and then you have to wait for an invitation, and then you can go. And you can probably email them about if you want to, more simply send supplies or funds. And you can do that on their website too. And
nobbp.org. That's where the updates and donation, etc. No Bayou Bridge Energy Transfer Partners. Well, that's fantastic. I mean, it's just you're spreading culture here, and then also standing up for just causes at the same time.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
I
things
mean,
have
it's
to be connected.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's up to us. So obviously, you guys are taking it on. And again, folks, you want to get out to departure number 11th, Pulaski Park on September 29th. That's 6:30 p.m. in Northampton, and then Sunday, 12 to 6 p.m. at the APE on Main Street in Northampton. So, did you guys bring any poetry with you or anything to share?
Poetry. No,
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it.
No, I brought my flyers for the event. But
Oh,
we
good.
didn't-
Well, we can put flyers up because
Oh, good.
we can put it in our PSA book and
Oh, great.
put it around the station and all that. Maybe for the next show
Mm-hmm.
where you're coming in, and I should say that you're going to be in.
Tomorrow evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Unscripted at, I believe, at 8.
Yes.
It's 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's
so we'll bring
great.
some. You can bring some part of the anthology, maybe, or we'd have to get permission from people.
Oh, right.
to put it on the radio.
Well, it's a thought
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great. So what's coming next? What's up next after this event? I know you're
my
probably
goodness.
all in
Oh,
for
boy.
this.
I have
but
no idea. We've been
Yeah.
we've been making T-shirts and books and flyers and coordinating. I can't honestly, and I need about a month
Yeah. Same.
after this,
Well,
and then we'll do another one.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. So we don't know.
Well, you know what? I'd like to hear about. Like to hear about some of the folks that are reading.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, because I
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
saw that somewhere, and then yeah, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Definitely.
Okay.
We have Andrea Lalor, who's reading three excerpts from their novel that just came out, and we'll also be selling. Well, I think we'll have copies of their book at the Northampton Print and Book Fair on the table with the anthology
Okay.
and the T-shirts. That book is called
Paul takes the form of a mortal girl.
Yeah. So 3 excerpts from that. And Andrea teaches at Mount Holyoke, I believe.
Yes.
And just had a novel put out. Rachel B.
Nice.
Glazer is a poet and I think novelist and short story writer that lives in the area and is really wonderful. And I've actually never met her, but I've seen her read, and I really, really like her work too.
We read together this summer, and she was just delightful, and her
Oh, that's
poetry
wonderful.
is really, really fun.
Yeah, and there's music in that one. I think her husband layered music into her reading for the recording, so that will be neat. And also, that reminds me, I just want to mention that the video artists are Thea Cohen and Alexis Hott, and they're working together. And also, my friend Andrew Wang is layering sound into the readings as well, so he's doing some work. And then we have Andrew McAlpine, who's also a local poet, and his section is from a larger poem that he's working on. He's a friend and a really wonderful fellow, and we also do the Connecticut River Valley Poets Theater together. So all of these things and people are all intertwined in different ways. And then Jack Chelgren, who is I think an MFA student.
Yeah,
currently.
UMass MFA in poetry candidate. I think they're in their third year.
Third year. Yeah. So people from all different places and different experience and ages and
Nice.
scenes and
Nice.
whatnot. Yeah.
So what are your favorites? Why don't you talk a little bit about your favorites, either by who's presenting or
of the ones we've done, you mean? Or-
well, actually, of the poets that are there, or
Oh,
other
yeah.
poets that you've run across, or let's talk about your
favorites.
particular.
I guess in the past.
Oh,
Oh, you go for it.
no,
No, you.
no, you.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, well, I always have such a hard time knowing how to pick from the upcoming ones, because oftentimes it's like people who we sort of know of but have never maybe have met, but we've never necessarily come across their work. We just think like, okay, I know this person has like this reputation of being an incredible writer, let's just ask them to come. And so it's always like a surprise to us as well,
Sure.
like
Yeah.
what this person's work is like. You should
Oh yeah,
Go.
I don't know. I have trouble picking favorites. I don't want to pick any favorites, but in the past, I think my favorite readings have been the one we did with the baby monitors. Also,
Really
just
fun.
like the first 3 were really like fresh and like they were young, and we had a lot of our friends reading, just like close.
Yeah.
And they were like a lot like closer to us, and that was really neat and very different than what it's become, kind of. So that was really cool. And then
Was that your idea, the whole baby monitor thing?
I think we thought of it together.
Yeah, it was
so great.
It started
I was
with
wondering what
pipes.
they were for. When
Yeah,
I
it was
saw
going to be a
that.
network of tubes that were
Which
going to
was
build
never
into
gonna
this house. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was going to be able to make that happen.
Pipes, like, making,
Yeah.
this is never
It was going to be someone in the basement playing the cello. It was
Kind of like at the
Oh, yeah,
playgrounds
we
where you're
looked for a
you're
cellist
talking
for
to
a
one
while.
thing and the
Yeah.
tube going over to the other.
Yeah, that was exactly what it was.
But the baby monitors had the same effect.
Yeah.
So we had to go buy them and return them. Because we
You
don't
bought
need,
them?
We don't
Oh,
need,
you bought them?
We don't
Oh,
need
jeez.
I tried to find baby monitors. I called like 17 different daycares.
Yeah, you worked really hard to
I was,
find
like,
those
trying
baby
to find-
monitors.
just
I
to borrow
know.
them for the night. And
Wish I had known. We have one laying around
Oh, you
because it
do?
was like, well, sometimes the camera part like heats up.
oh, yeah.
And then you
Wait,
have to throw them
what?
away, and you have they could be
overheat?
dangerous. Yeah, like there
Oh
are
my
some there are
God.
some cases where the camera portion has like caught on fire.
Whoa, that's scary.
Oh,
That's the
no.
part that's like in the baby's room. You
What
know,
a nightmare.
So
That's
yeah, we
scary.
had one, and we were like moving the. We have a little near 1-year-old, but
Oh.
we had. That we were moving the camera or whatever, and my fiance was like, oh, this thing is like hot. And then we went and like researched it, and we were like, oh my God, chuck that.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
So you would think there'd be a stockpile of them
Right.
somewhere from like that were dangerous.
Somewhere, yeah,
and- but for
formerly
this purpose,
dangerous.
former monitors.
Yeah.
So what about, there was something else other
Oh,
than the
yeah.
monitors? Yeah.
The one that we did at APE, which is where the Northampton Print and Book Fair will be, that
Yeah.
gallery downtown.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that one was amazing.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into that one. People had mixed feelings about it because some people really hate audience participation.
Yeah, that was a little bit
Which is
contentious.
just
Come on,
fine.
you gotta
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah,
you know?
but it was fun. We just had instructions, and it was really. I didn't have any fun, but I know it was fun.
Yeah.
Because I was busy, like, it's like, oh my, did that
You were
instruction
working,
happen?
right?
Did
Yeah.
that happen? Like,
Yeah.
things weren't going off as planned. There was one point where one of our friends who was reading was supposed to say a phrase, and 5 people were supposed to
Like, do a
walk to the
dance.
door and do the dance. But
And like
Didn't
no
happen.
one, no one did the dance. I don't even remember him saying
I
the
don't think
phrase.
he read the line.
Yeah, I don't think he read the line. There was like a bunch of people that were supposed to like go into like a back corner somewhere and like do this whole thing where they like wrote a poem, and like whoever was supposed to start that process just never did it.
Yeah.
And
Dropped the ball, huh?
So like
Yeah.
there's like a moment at the very end where I like had to panic and like ran up to our friend and like handed him a piece of paper and was just like,
Write a
fix
po-
it.
write a poem. And it worked because then we had
Yeah.
because there was that the notebook just ended up getting passed down a line and each person wrote a line.
Yeah.
And then there was someone's instruction was to be the surprise final reader, and this guy came up. I'd never seen him.
Yeah,
He was like,
I have
I'm your
no idea who
surprise
this was.
final reader. I was like, okay.
Right.
He was so
Okay.
excited. Yeah. It was
Well,
cool.
you have to just roll with
Yeah,
it at times,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
And if you just tuned in, we're speaking with Nellie Pryor and Greg Harkavey, and we're talking about their Saturday, September 29th, 6:30 p.m., Pulaski Park, departure number 11 poetry event, as well as the Northampton Print and Book Fair at the APE on Sunday, following day on the 30th, 12 noon to 6 p.m. And let's see. So, what else can we talk about?
Yeah, what else can we
We've
talk
covered a
about?
lot.
Yeah,
So,
well-
how'd you get the video connection in here with Thea and Alexis? How did that all come about?
We just thought it would be fun to have
Yeah.
a sort of recorded podcasty video type experience. Actually, originally the concept was for it to be like a drive-in, and we were seeking out a big parking lot to do video
okay.
and then recorded readings with. We couldn't find a parking lot, but
No,
we found.
that-
But so there's no car.
a
There are
lot
no
harder than I
cars
thought.
involved, and that's probably better anyway. So, yeah, that's where that idea came from. And Thea is a Hampshire grad and has done a lot of video work, and Alexis too, I think, is a Smith grad. And
Alexis is a Smith grad.
also a video artist. So we just asked them if they wanted to do it, and they've been meeting up independently. We haven't met with them once. They're just they just are making whatever videos they're making.
They met maybe
Okay.
like one time and
Before they-
came back to me and like had this incredible like idea of like doing live projection mapping onto sculptures that they make. So it's not just it's like not a screen, it's like these these objects that they built that's going to have video going all over them.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's going to be wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is
gonna
really
be amazing.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I think one more thing I could
go
mention
ahead.
is when I was meeting with Trevor Powers, who's on the organizing team for Northampton Print and Book Fair. Also, Esther White and Trevor are kind of like the main people there. He was talking to me about this idea. If you see all of their graphics online, there are silkworms and like caterpillars and stuff. Because they've been
really?
thinking a lot about. There was this period of time that I didn't even know about in Northampton, in Florence actually, I believe. These silk mills, this family, right, bought a house and planted a bunch of mulberry trees and started like a utopian abolitionist commune that was around for like 15 years.
Yes.
Sojourner Truth was there for a while. It was a big part of the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
And at one point there were like 120 people living there, and they were making silk.
Yeah, well, you'll notice on
So neat.
on is it Locust Street or kind of where Main Street starts? There's the silk
mill, right?
Silk mill, and down on Nonotuck Street there's that as well, and there's a walking tour that Steve Strymer runs at the Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday there at that point, and points out all of these sites, and I think there might have been another utopian society out in the Worcester area, but it was was made up of abolitionists, and Frederick Douglass came out and spoke, and John Ruggles was a famous abolitionist that was involved. And
I love that name, Ruggles.
David Ruggles, I'm
David
sorry.
Ruggles.
And there's a David Ruggles museum on the end of my street, on Nonotuck Street. So that whole area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Sojourner Truth. And Sojourner Truth's first home purchase was actually on Park Street.
Oh, really?
In Florence,
No
right there,
way.
right near her, the statue, which is right across the street here, the Sojourner Truth statue, bronze statue out there.
Right. That's so interesting. So they're like drawing from that, the sort of collaborative effort of that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. It's such a rich history out here.
Yeah, true.
In Florence. All right, so we're down to the last minute.
Yoo-hoo.
So how would we? And I want to thank you guys for coming in. This
Thanks
is
for
really
Thank you
Rick.
for having us. This was so fun.
very exciting event, and you're spreading culture in a multimedia format, with readings and video, and bringing the two together, and and it's really just contribute with so much hatred and division and all that. This is part of bringing unity to our community. So it's really, really an important thing.
Good,
And,
thanks.
Thank you.
yeah, and again, I want to remind folks that you guys will be back Monday at 8 on Chris Fournier's show, Unscripted.
Yes, tomorrow night. Yeah.
Super excited.
Yeah, Monday night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the rain location instead
Yes.
of Pulaski
Oh,
Park
yes.
is Parlor Room in Northampton. So if
Oh,
it's
okay.
raining, go there.
Yeah. Again, Saturday, September 29th, this Saturday, 6:30 p.m., departure number 11 at Pulaski Park in collaboration with the Northampton Print and Book Fair. And that's happening Sunday, 12 to 6 at the APE rain location Parlor Room.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, guys. So have a great day.
Yeah,
and,
you too.
Yeah,
come
you
back
too.
and keep
Oh my
me up
gosh.
on what you guys are doing.
Will
And
do.
We'll
either
love
with
to.
either the BBP Bayou Bridge Pipeline issue to go to access, kind of that whole thing. If you want to come back and
Talk about that.
do
some more.
something on that, we talk about that
that's
as
a
well.
great idea. I'll bring Anya.
Yeah,
She's the expert.
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. So, and I want to say thank you to our Northampton Community Television audience. It's always great to have you here. And thank you to Al Williams and Dave and Jen and everybody up there who makes all this happen right here at Valley Free Radio.